All right, let's talk about something we all experience. That huge, fascinating gap between what we say we're going to do and what we actually end up doing. It's a gap that can cause massive headaches for anyone trying to understand real human behavior, from businesses to scientists. I mean, be honest with yourself for a second. How's that New Year's resolution going? Did you actually clean out the garage last weekend like you said you would? We all have the best intentions, right? But life, well, it has other plans. And this isn't just a personal quirk. It's a fundamental challenge when you're trying to figure people out. Exactly. And researchers are keenly aware of this. If you're a company trying to figure out why people aren't buying your product, you can't just rely on what they tell you in a survey. The answers might not reflect reality at all. So, how do you get to the truth? How do you find out what's really going on? Well, the answer is you watch them. This is the whole idea behind observation. And look, this isn't just sitting on a park bench, people watching for fun. It's a scientific method, a planned, systematic way to watch, record, and understand behavior as it unfolds in the real world. So let's get into how this actually works. To do this right, researchers have what you could call a toolkit, and it's built around four key dimensions. Think of these as four big questions you have to answer before you start, and each choice completely shapes the kind of study you're doing. First up is the setting controlled or uncontrolled. Think of it as a lab versus the wild. A controlled observation is like a lab. A researcher might build a fake store aisle to see exactly how you react to new cereal box designs. Uncontrolled is the real deal. They're watching shoppers in an actual supermarket. The behavior you see there is 100% authentic, but it's a lot harder to pinpoint exactly why people are doing what they're doing. Okay, next question. Is the researcher a participant or a non-participant? A non-participant is basically a fly on the wall, watching from the outside through a camera or a one-way mirror. But a participant observer, they jump right in. They actually join the group to get that invaluable insider's point of view, whether that means working on a factory floor or shadowing traders on Wall Street. The third dimension is all about structure. A structured observation is like going to the grocery store with a very specific list. The researcher has a checklist of behaviors they're looking for, and they just tally them up. It's all about the numbers. Unstructured is the total opposite. It's like wandering through the store just to see what looks interesting. The observer tries to record everything, hoping to find unexpected patterns later on. And finally, the big one, concealment. Does the group know you're watching them or not? Concealed is when you're fully undercover. The subjects have no clue they're being studied, so you can bet their behavior is natural. Unconcealed is when everyone's in on it. And while that's more ethical, it comes with a huge risk. People might change how they act simply because they know they're being watched. So now that we've got those four dimensions down, let's go a little deeper on one of the most powerful and, frankly, most interesting methods out there, participant observation. This is where things get really immersive. Now, what's so cool about this is that participation isn't an all-or-nothing thing. It's really a sliding scale. A researcher can be totally passive, just sitting in the corner taking notes. They can have some moderate interactions. They can become an active participant, helping out with tasks. Or they can go all the way to complete participation, becoming a genuine, full-fledged member of the group. And over time, something amazing can happen. The goal is to blend in so much that people forget you're even there to study them. This classic quote from the famous anthropologist Bronislaw Malinowski just nails it. He says they eventually saw him as just part of the furniture, a necessary evil they put up with. And that's the magic moment, when you're no longer an outsider and you start seeing how life really works. But man, this is not easy to pull off. You have to get access and permission, which can be a huge hurdle. You need to find the right people, your key informants, who can explain what's going on. You have to build real trust. And all the while, you're furiously scribbling down field notes and trying your best not to go native, where you get so immersed that you completely lose your objective, scientific perspective. Okay, so we've just talked about going deep and getting immersed in a culture. Now let's completely flip the script and look at a different approach, structured observation. This is less about understanding a way of life and way more about systematically measuring very specific actions. And you know the perfect example of this, right? The mystery shopper. When a mystery shopper walks into a fast food place, they're not there to soak up the ambiance. No, they have a checklist. Was the greeting friendly? Check. Was the order correct? Check. Was the floor clean? Check. It is focused, systematic, and all about collecting quantitative data. And they do this using something called a coding scheme. It sounds technical, but it's really just a pre-made template for what to look for. Say you're studying if health labels on candy bars make a difference. The observer would have a sheet just like this one. They're not writing a long story. They're just ticking boxes and filling in specific data points that can be easily analyzed later. At its most basic level, this is what you're doing, just making tally marks. Maybe you're in an office and you want to see how a manager spends their day. You just count how many times they answer the phone, how many emails they write, how many meetings they go to. It's a simple frequency count, but it gives you a clear snapshot.
But sometimes just knowing how many isn't enough. What if the order of events tells the real story? That's where a sequence record comes in. Now you're not just counting, you're tracking the flow. They took a phone call, then went to a meeting, then wrote an email. This starts to reveal the actual workflow, the real process, not just the separate pieces.
And if you want to get really granular, you add a timescale. Now you've got it all. You know what happened, in what order it happened, and exactly when it happened. This is how you can precisely map out and analyze really complex behaviors, moment by moment. So it's pretty clear that these observational methods are incredibly powerful. They give us a window into what people really do. But, and you knew there was a but coming, they are not a magic bullet. Like any tool, they come with a very clear set of pros and cons. On the plus side, the biggest advantage is directness. You're seeing raw, unfiltered behavior, not just what someone wants to tell you. It's fantastic for studying groups who can't fill out a survey, like little kids. But the disadvantages are very real. It can be super time-consuming and expensive. There's always the risk that the observer's own biases color what they see. And maybe most importantly, you can see what people do, but you have no idea why. You can't see their thoughts, feelings, or motivations. And that brings us to the biggest challenge of all, and it has a name, the Hawthorne effect. It comes from a famous study at a factory where researchers were testing how things like lighting affected worker productivity. And they found that productivity went up no matter what they did. Better lighting, worse lighting, it didn't matter. Why? Because the workers just felt special and important because someone was paying attention to them. The very act of being watched changed their behavior. And that is the fundamental puzzle researchers are always trying to solve. How do you observe reality without your presence changing it? So, observation gives us this incredible direct window into how people behave. But it's a window that can sometimes warp the view. And it leaves us with a fascinating question to chew on. As you go about your day, in a store, at the office, even just walking down the street, who might be watching you? And what hidden truths about what you do are they hoping to figure out?